This is Infinite Transcendence.
Hello again and welcome to Infinite Transcendence. Today I want to talk about a fan requested or a viewer requested, hopefully he's a fan, I guess he's a fan requested video about the economy, about Peter Schiff, things like that. I still can't figure out who this person is because I feel like who else knows I like Peter Schiff? I know some people who do, but all the people I knew I asked, they weren't that person. But yeah, I like Peter Schiff. I don't talk about my economic viewpoints. I talk about finance. I don't get into my economic viewpoints much. I have no problem talking about it, but I talk more about personal growth. But I'm a libertarian. I believe in free markets. I believe in individualism and making personal choice, making the best choice, taking personal responsibility for your actions, making good choices. As you can tell by this channel, I believe in doing things like that. So I believe in a free market. And as you know, our society is not a free market. We're very government influenced. We have a large government, a large central government. We have tons of debt, lots of inflation. Lots of money printing, tons of rules, tons of regulations, things like that. I don't delve into it much. I'm going to start talking about it more. It's definitely a highly searched for thing on YouTube, and a lot of people ask for it, so I have no problem talking about it because it's actually one of my hobbies to talk about. So I'm going to delve into that now and on some of my general viewpoints on the economy, and then I'll start talking about other specific topics more so later. But I wanted to kind of get my foot in the door with it. So like I said before, we have a large centrally controlled economy. Now, I know some people, I'm going to try to break it down. I try to keep things simple because a lot of viewers might not be economically inclined or might not just be into it. They may be younger or older. And I know your average person doesn't really think about it too much. So what I mean when I say our economy, our society is centrally planned. Well, what I mean is basically this. You have two main types of society. You have two extremes. Our society was once based on freedom and individual choice. We had an individual free market, meaning there was no central authority setting interest rates. That was setting, we didn't have the high taxes and the high regulations we do now. We had a free market. You know, if I want to sell my labor for $5 an hour and you want to buy my labor for $5 an hour, you can do it. Right now, that's illegal because of the minimum wage law. So if I want to sell my labor, I'm an employer, but let's say I want to sell my labor for $5 an hour and the employer wants to buy it. He can't because it's illegal. So I have to take the job. He has to give me the job at, I don't know, what is the minimum wage right now? $7.50, $8? I don't even know, but it's somewhere around there. I haven't paid attention to that in a while. $7.50, $8, whatever it is. Say the minimum wage is $10 an hour. If I don't have the skills to have $10 an hour worth of productivity, I can't work. I'm now unemployed. I now have to turn to crime or welfare. I'm unemployable, or I guess work under the table. But that's what these kind of laws do. So when you hear people talk about the laws being bad or good, this is the kind of things that a lot of these laws we have now, they don't take into account human behavior and human choice and unintended consequences and moral hazard. It's the same thing with healthcare laws. If people know they can get healthcare after they get injured or sick, they don't have an incentive to get it beforehand because, like for me, I'm a young man. I'm a healthy young man. So for me, there's really no incentive to get healthcare early on and just pay for it years and years in advance because the chances of me having a serious issue pretty minimum. And if I do have an issue, I can just get the insurance and then pay for it and then move on. Now, of course, for an older person or a woman, because women have kids and women go to the doctor a lot more than men do until men get older, it's a better deal for them because they're being subsidized by the other party. See, these kind of things they don't say directly. They just say we're going to pass a law to help everybody. But the law doesn't end up helping everybody. It ends up causing more problems in the long run because of moral hazard, because of the other impacts it has on the economy. And in terms of my political views, like I said, I'm a libertarian. In terms of the elected candidates, I don't really care for much of any of them. The people like it because, you know, we had Obama for 8 years. And of course, with the whole black thing, people say, if you're not, you know, if you criticize Obama, they say, well, you just hate black people or, you know, you're an Uncle Tom or something like that. Believe me, I don't like any of the candidates that much. I have people I liked, but I know they're never going to get into office because their viewpoints aren't going to be popular. Nobody wants to cut down on anything that would significantly reduce the debt and the spending we have. And I'm aware of that. And the only thing I can do is prepare myself. And I recommend others prepare themselves for when things get worse, because we're already in a lot of debt. We have a lot of issues now. And I want to point out that a lot of things that politicians promise, there's no free lunch, because they can say they're going to take it from me, or they can say they're going to get it for free. It's never free, because if they take it from me, that hurts my ability to invest and grow a business and hire people. And they'll say it's free, or what they'll do is they'll print money. They do inflation. So what happens is if you're an average person, it's for everybody, but especially if you're an average or middle class or working class or poor person, you probably realize when you go to the store, things cost more money. Why? Because the dollar has been devalued. So it's never free. You either pay taxes or you get higher prices. And who these higher prices hurt the most? The poor. It hurts everybody, but the poor who have the least amount of money to buy the things they need. So as prices go up, they have the less ability to buy food and gasoline and health care and clothing and all the things that at one point were easily affordable to pretty much everybody. I mean, in distant past, healthcare was no big deal. You had doctors who could come to your house. It wasn't really a big deal for anybody. Having a baby was much cheaper. People saved up. And that's what I do. I went to the doctor. I pay out of pocket. I went to the doctor for my allergy issues and other issues I was having with the food sensitivities. I went and got a blood test and all of that. And I paid out of pocket. No problem. But, I didn't have to pay all these months of insurance in advance to pay for the one-time issue I had. Because of me going to the doctor, it's pretty uncommon. And I'd rather just save up and pay, and then I can negotiate a price, and I can just pay up front, and I just get to the point. I instead of having to deal with all the paperwork and all the other nonsense. But basically, long story short, there is no free lunch. If you want something, somebody has to pay for it. And it's going to either hurt you because you got to pay higher taxes, which a lot of people who vote for don't vote for higher taxes on themselves. They vote for higher taxes on others. We got to borrow the money, which means we got to pay that money back with interest. And right now, our interest rates are low. Another thing is we have low interest rates. Now, what does that mean? Well, low interest rate means basically you have our economy now, we reward spenders and don't reward savers. So in other words, with low interest rates, you don't get a lot of you don't get a lot of return on what you save. If you put money away in a savings account or something similar, you realize that savings rate is really low. Why? Because we have low interest. So for a person like me, if I want to save money and use it later, the interest I get on savings is so low combined with the inflation, that is like the deterioration of the value of the dollar. I'm actually losing money by saving it. And this is deliberate because what our government does is it wipes away the debt by devaluing the cost of the dollar. So let's say I'm an individual. Let's say I want to take out a loan. Let's say I'm the debtor. Yeah, I'm the person who wants to take out the loan. I take out $10,000. Now, let's say it's a 5 year, let's say it's a car. Okay, I want to buy a car for 20 grand. I have a 5-year loan. Let's say over the course of 5 years, we have some crazy inflation. And now the $20,000 of debt I had now is only worth $12,000. I've saved a lot of money. Yeah, I've saved a lot of money in terms of that debt. It takes a lot. It's 40% off. I have 40% savings. I basically saved a lot of money because the inflation is a good loan because the inflation wiped away the value of my debt. So because the value of the loan doesn't adjust once I get the loan. And in this case, let's say the interest doesn't adjust and the amount doesn't adjust. I'm getting a much cheaper loan. Now, for me as a saver, I have to charge a much higher interest on that loan because if I do not, I'm getting back much less money. If I loan you $20,000 and then you pay me back 5 years later with $12,000 equivalent of what it would have been and what it is now to the $20,000 I gave you 5 years ago, I'm now poor. So it hurts savers. And it rewards spenders and debtors. And our country is a spending debtor country. And we rack up a lot of debt. We have trillions of dollars of debt. Our politicians spend an absurd amount of money. We have wars. We have all these programs, all of this, all of that. The government spends money like crazy. The education system is expensive. And as me being a libertarian and I'm just an individualist. I believe in freedom, essentially. I'm not part of any specific group, but I like a free approach because I like competition. Same thing with schooling. Freedom, competition, low prices, and same thing with schooling. If you have school that is cheap and low cost, like a private school or a charter school or something similar to that, you get much better results. And now with modern technology, it should be getting cheaper. But you'll see the education system. Look at the college. The education system is more and more expensive because of all the loans and all the grants and things that are automatically guaranteed to let people go to school who don't need to go to school. Now you're seeing a lot of young people go to school, drown in debt, and can't find a job. I know a lot of people who rack up high 6 figures of debt, and they can't find a good job worth it. And I mean, there's not a lot of employment opportunities out there for the average young person. You would have been better off just getting a job, getting a used car, maybe buying an apartment or renting an apartment and just paying off your debt and paying things in cash and saving up. You could have worked your way up and did pretty well for yourself or got a 2-year vocational degree or something versus a 4-year degree. And I know a lot of the viewers from what I've seen, my demographics are about 18 to 34, mostly male. So I know a lot of people are in that college age. So I want to point that out. Now, I've said it before, not everybody has to go to college, but if you got to go, keep your costs lower, go get a 2-year degree because we're in a lot of debt. There's a lot of things to keep in mind. And if you're young, just know that our previous generations have voted in a lot of things that somebody has to pay for. We can only pass the bucket. We can only pass the cost down so much. And like Social Security. I know if you look at Social Security, which is a Ponzi scheme, which I'm going to get. I get. There's so much I can. I'm going to talk about a lot of this stuff now that I've gotten started. But for instance, for Social Security, the people who got in first got the most value because that's how Ponzi schemes work. If you look back when the Social Security trust fund started, back in the way back when it started, a person who started then could have put in a couple $100s and got out thousands of dollars in, 1940s, whatever it was, dollar, because it was a delay before the money came out to give the illusion that it was being collected. Now, as a young person, you're putting way more in than you're going to get out. If you even get out by the time you're 65 or whenever, they may adjust the age to 70 for all I know, or 80, who knows. I doubt the money's going to be there. And if you're going to get it, it's going to be in deflated dollars or inflated dollars. So it wouldn't be worth very much. These are things you're going to hear me. I'm going to start discussing about this a lot. So I'm going to wrap it up there for today about my ideas on the economy, about Peter Schiff. I'm a big fan of him. I'm a big fan of what he says. I like his debating skills. I've listened to all of his shows and podcasts. I listen to all of his debates. I like what he says, and I'll discuss more of what he says in the future. And I'll discuss more of my views on the economy as we go along as a regular topic. And I'll probably start answering questions or just talking about particular topics like hypothecation and things like debt. So let me know what you think. Do you like these kind of topics? Do you like hearing about finance and the economy or my point of view? Let me know, like and to subscribe, and of course, transcend infinitely.
Keep watching and listening. See you next time and transcend infinitely.